Should have read the agenda. Good morning, everyone. I'm Laura Hoydick, Mayor of the Town of Stratford. Very pleased to welcome you here today, and our Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro, and with her standing next to her is Chief McNeil, and we have several other dignitaries, State Representative Joe Gresco. And the Congresswoman is here to recognize our phenomenal police department under the leadership of Chief McNeil, who is also a distinguished chief named by the Commission of Police Commissioners this year, to recognize all the efforts that we put in for our de-escalation program with our Stratford Police Department in the town of Stratford. At this time, I'd like to introduce Representative DeLauro.
Good morning, and I want to say thank you to everyone for being here, and thank you for joining with all of us, with the mayor and the Stratford PD here. Joe Gresco, welcome here this morning. And Mayor, I want to just say a thank you to you, and I want to say thank you for your leadership here in Stratford. And I want to recognize Chief McNeil, Officer Mouchette. I know we've got a whole lot of folks here. We've got the Public Safety Officer Larry Ceccarelli, Mr. Ionati, who I understand, Officer Ionati, who got the grant application in. Is that right?
Yes, okay. Myself and Greg.
And Deputy Chief Puckett, and Bob, and I mentioned Joe. So I want to say a thank you to all of the police officers of the Stratford Police Department, and I guess represent just Captain Brian Budd as well. But this is really I want to just say a thank you to all of you for all that you do in working on the front lines and for being such an integral part of our community. You are the first responders. You put your lives on the line time and time again. You provide safety and you provide security for our citizens. So it's always great for me to have the opportunity to talk to the brave men and women who serve in the department. Today is particularly special because we celebrate and we congratulate the De-Escalation grant that you were recently awarded from the U.S. Department of Justice. And I might add, there were only 54 of these awards nationwide, 4 in Connecticut and 1 in our community. And in the wake of shootings over the last few years, there has been a renewed focus to address reforms to policing, tactics, techniques, procedures. And this has included focus on de-escalation training. The President said earlier this year, and I quote, "Policing works best when officers are out of their cruisers and walking the streets, engaging with their communities." Something I agree with. When I worked for the city of New Haven many years ago as a mayor's chief of staff, and we initiated community policing at that time, and it was well received, and I believe very successful. So I am proud of what the Department of Justice is doing with the COPS program. They announced over $33 million in funding to advance the practice of community policing and law enforcement last month. $13 million of the funding supports the creation and the delivery of national level de-escalation training grants, as well as state and local law enforcement agencies, their efforts to build, to maintain the officers' de-escalation proficiency. And that's why I'm really so pleased as the Stratford Police Department was awarded more than $43,000 by DOJ under the 2021 Community Policing Development Program. It's a big deal. It really is a big deal. So the funds are used to support promising practices through the development and testing of innovative strategies, building knowledge about effective practices and outcomes, supports new creative approaches to preventing crime and promoting safe communities. As you all know, 2021 COPS, the Office of Community Policing Development Program Awards, are used to develop the capacity of law enforcement to implement community policing strategies and advancing organizational strategies that support the use of partnerships, problem-solving techniques to address the immediate concerns that arise from public safety issues, violent crime, nonviolent crime, fear of crime. So with this specific funding, it's my understanding, and I'm sure the chief and others will be more specific, the department will be able to integrate new training program, which is called Integration Communications Assessment and Tactics, ICAP. First responders will be offered the tools, the skill, the resources, and the options to safely diffuse a variety of incidents. Like you, I'm committed to advancing efforts that promote civil rights, increase access to justice, supports of crime, victims of crime, protect the public from crime and evolving threats, but more importantly, builds trust between the police departments and our communities. So you play critical roles in these areas, and these are challenging times. So it's been never more important to develop and maintain very meaningful relationships with all segments of our community. So, you know, police officers dedicate their lives to protecting and strengthening our communities. You deserve all of the support and the respect that you deserve in order to be able to do your job safely and effectively. You've got state budgets, local budgets that are stretched thin, which is why I believe it's the federal government that needs to equip you with the resources that you need in order to keep all of our families safe, including your own. You perform under intense pressure, literally in life or death situations, in order to protect us. And it's humbling how your courage and your selflessness and all of these efforts. So I thank you again for your service. I thank you for keeping our community safe. And I just again congratulate you on the outstanding job of getting one of these grants to continue what I understand you're building upon already techniques and strategies to engage in these efforts. So now it is my pleasure to introduce Chief McNeil, law enforcement for more than 27 years. In 2012, he was the deputy chief here in Stratford before becoming chief in 2016. And he has worked with Stratford Police Chief Patrick Ridenour on making improvements to the department, resulted in reduced crime from 2013 to 2016. A big job. Oversees 112 sworn officers, many with specialized units, but the chief, we know, is up to the task. So we're happy to have all of you at Stratford. We appreciate what you do, and I'm pleased to introduce someone that you already know and work with on a daily basis.
Good morning. So I want to thank Congresswoman DeLauro for being an advocate for this department. That's very important that we got this funding with her help. Also for Mayor Hoydick, who's actually transformed this department into being a community service-oriented department. This de-escalation training is going to help us have better outcomes with our residents, and that's all we want. We want actually to help our residents. This is a very trying time. We've been in incredible COVID and everything else going on, and you know, people are under incredible amount of stressors. This is how we're going to help and transform our community, define what they need, how to help them, and get them the services that are required. And this is all part of it, and that's why this is very, very important. And this is just not this will be the second time we're doing it, de-escalation training. The first time we've already done it, but this is more centric to it. It's more intensive, and it's going to be a better program to ensure that our officers are equipped with all the tools they need to help our citizens. And that's all this is about, to make a better department, a better community, and we're working together and striving just to be better people. And that's what this is about. I'm short and sweet, but I'm going to have Officer Robert Bouchette give a brief outline of the training, and he's next. Thank you very much.
Regarding your advocacy, ma'am, we have a mother who recently shared her recollection with the Stratford Police Department that her son was undergoing some crisis at the time, and one of our officers, Officer Castro, I mentioned him by name, with others responded. In her letter shared with the department, she recounts what happened. She spoke of Officer Castro's soft tone, gentle demeanor, which led to him sitting with her son, embracing her son, who cried, and then he eventually got him help. With no shots fired, no use of force of any sort. And only this weekend, another officer removed from the waistband of someone in Stratford an illegal firearm. No use of force, and the person was taken into custody without incident. To say, while our officers have been doing diffusing and de-escalating, this through ICAT only reinforces that, and like the chief spoke about, give all our officers all the tools necessary. So she, in her words, she said she was overwhelmed with joy because she knew that it could have gone any other way, but she just loved how it turned out. So ICAT is committed to reducing, like the Stratford Police Department, use of force incidents drastically. It is integrating communications, assessment, and tactics. And it provides our officers with tools, skills, and options to successfully and safely diffuse a wide range of critical incidents. It takes essentially building blocks, and I'll mention the subject areas that we go through, such as crisis intervention, communications, tactics, and put them all together in an integrated approach to training. It focuses on the options aimed at the reduction of use of force and to have incidents safely resolved without the use of force, especially that of deadly force. The topics covered will include critical decision making. And at the forefront of that module, there is ethics, morals, proportionality, and the one I favored most is the sanctity of human life, which is the belief that all human beings have equal value and worth. The most significant achievement ICAT believes for any officer at the end of his shift is not to simply get themselves home safely, but to get everyone home safely. Other areas covered are crisis recognition, tactical communications, and tactical communications. It focuses on 5 universal truths of human beings. That people have the need to be respected. They would rather be asked than to be told. They have a desire to know why. They prefer to have options than threats, and they want to have a second chance. And these are all focuses of ICAT. It addresses suicide by cop, and we're seeing an increase in that. So the police can easily identify situations including indicators and warning signs when someone so wishes for the officer or officers to take their lives. Operational tactics, and here's another favorite, step up and step in. And what this speaks on is an officer taking an ownership of challenging situations, speaking up and acting if they see something is about to go bad or their peer is about to make a mistake. The final intent there is step up and step in is about preventing problems before they occur. The entire training culminates with scenario-based exercises, and it was done in phases. And it's our hope that, coupled with the police engagement program that we already have, is that somewhere in the near future that we will take this into the academy. Thank you very much for your advocacy. Mayor, thank you for your stewardship. And from my peers, Chief and Cadre, thank you very much for always championing the cause. Thank you.